Hello and salutations. I found another discrepancy in the two-handed swords. This is going to be part three. So this is Bal's Pator's razor, right? Bal Peter's razor. I'm murdering the pronunciation of this, but my point of this is this has four stats. Okay, so every legendary should have four stats. So like the this one has an attribute. It's just not listed. It's illumination. It should be illumination right here, but legendary, cripple, weapon, and then illumination, and then of course durability and weight are a whole nother argument altogether. But this, for the sake of this video, we're just talking about the attributes, the four attributes of the weapon, and how they need to be properly reflected, right? So Talisaro says high grade. It should be legendary, and it should have a fourth attribute. It could just be damage multiplier or increased damage. But what's interesting about this is endurance, bonus endurance, right? So this should be bonus shit. This should be bonus damage, but it says bonus endurance. But what's interesting is that the deal with endurance is it only is effective if the weapon is equipped, right? So it has to, like, your armor permanently has endurance on it. I'm running an endurance set, which gives me +9 to endurance. So it allows me to run a build that I can spend less points of endurance and put them in other places. So theoretically, at first, this weapon made a lot of sense because if I have it in my hotbar, I should get the permanent endurance buff, but that's not the case. So right now, as let me put it away. So it's still equipped in my hotbar, but I'm not getting the bonus in endurance unless, because here's my attributes. So I run a 41 plus my 9 for armor. So theoretically, I should be able to run a -14 build and put those points somewhere else in my spec. But the way that this weapon is, I actually have to run around with it like this in order to do my encumbrance build, and that's just not feasible. So I don't think this was how it was intended to be, because just having 5 endurance on a weapon that's only effective when the weapon is drawn is not practical. So this needs to be see, now I'm 14, so I get my +5 when the weapon is drawn. If this was strength, the argument would be valid, right? Because then I would have the multiplier on the damage being done, and it might bump me into my next. But endurance isn't one of those abilities that increases your damage. It's strictly kind of a farmer, crafter, gatherer build. And so if you're going to run this weapon to make your gatherer build more efficient, this stat needs to be permanent if it's equipped in the hotbar and not just when it's in use. It needs to be a passive stat that is. I'm just rambling, but you get the idea. So you still need to get the stat when it's put away. But this is the part 3 of this video. I'm going through and just kind of, now I'm interested. Now I'm digging and I'm seeing what other discrepancies I can find in weapon stats and nomenclature and verbiage. Because this is actually, a person could sit down and within a week they could go through, maybe 2 days, and go through, because there's only let's say there's only 20 two-handed weapons in the game. They could go through and clean all that up in one afternoon, and then the next day they could go through and clean up all two-handed spears in one day, and then the next day they could do a micro patch and they could clean all of this up and have it all make sense, and um, it would improve the gameplay experience. Thank you for watching.